Hello, I'm Diksha and I am going to demonstrate a quick presentation on Hofstede's culture dimensions and mainly focusing on power distance. Before that, let's just know quickly about who Hofstede is and what his research is based on. So yeah, Hofstede is a Dutch social psychologist, and he was also a former Hofstede was a Dutch social psychologist and also a former IBM employee, and he pioneered the research on cross-cultural groups and organizations, and he came up with different culture dimensions, and these are masculinity versus femininity, indulgence versus restraint, uncertainty avoidance, long-term versus short-term orientation, individualism versus collectivism, and power distance. So, since we're discussing about power distance, we need to know what power distance actually is. So, it is a it is a degree of inequality that exists in every country, every society, and the degree to which it is accepted, and how the people with power and without the power and authority are treated. A country with a high PDI means power distance index, denotes that a society is accepting of uneven distribution of power, that is people understand their position in any structures and do not actually question them, and a country with a low PDI score denotes that the power is distributed and people do not welcome situations where power is divided unevenly. That means that people are unaccepting of in any form of inequality. So the major characteristics of countries with high PDI are the institutions are very centralized, and there's a very hierarchical and bureaucratic system, that is organization have a very formed structure and people do not question on position, and they are just accepting of the orders and they're following orders for seniors and not cross questioning them is not in the culture. And there's also one demerit of it is like there's a larger gap in recognition, and there's gaps in things like authority and respect. Whereas the country with low PDI characteristics they are very flat organization. People are openly speaking about their opinions, giving their suggestion. The organizations follow very open systems, and where all the staffs are considered on an equal level. They just put more freedom than in structured organizations. So the country which power distance that we are going to look after today, it's Thailand. So Thailand, the research was quite interesting because I got to find out about it, very fascinating findings that which I'm going to share in this slide. So according to the Hofstede Insight, the Thailand ranks 64 in the overall power distance index. So according to this, it is slightly higher compared to other sorry, it is slightly lower compared to other Asian countries, but still there is acceptance of inequality, and there is a trend of following a change of command, that is following orders for senior, which is common still. So I'll just quickly give you a scenario. So in this situation, the supervisor wants his employee to work overtime and finish the proposal which is due tomorrow meeting, and however the employee has got some commitments. So what will you think will happen in this situation in Thailand? Well, in this case and in this particular situation in Thailand, employee, despite having their commitments, employee will still agree to stay for extra hours and complete the given work. anyhow. So this is the kind of culture in Thailand. So they are just agreeing to supervisor. However, they will let the supervisor know about the challenges or any obstacles they might face during the challenge. I mean, like if they do not cannot perform the task in time and they think that it's very overloading for them, then they will let the supervisor know, still be accepting to doing the task, but they will inform their supervisors about the challenges that they might face while doing the task. So the culture is like that, which I'm trying to depict in this particular scenario. Moving on, so these are some key points that I found out during my research for PDI and across culture in Thailand. So yeah, so decisions are mostly made from the top. That is, even after China is even after the shift to democracy, after the monocratic rule, people still expect the leaders to make the decisions. That is, they rely on their seniors and bosses for making any decisions. And other thing that I've mentioned here is it's very important in Thailand to establish personal relationship with the client or colleague before doing any business. So the workplace relationship on a personal level is very important in Thailand. And the third thing is punctuality is not a must. That means that it is not the actual important thing, but it is admired in most professional settings that people are expected to be on time on a professional level. Moving on, yeah, this is quite an interesting thing. So even in professional settings and also in a personal setting, people normally address a person by adding the word kun after their first name, and regardless to the title. Even if I'm addressing my boss, I can take his or her first name and then I would add kun to it, and it just kind of adds a level of respect. So this is how people address each other in Thailand while they're showing respect. So they just add the word kun. And the my last point is that the norms are slowly changing in Thailand, where a new concept like a middle level management is showing up, which means that there's a bridging the gap between the bosses and the employees is slowly shifting towards our balance, that is delegation, and it is shown in forms of delegation of work. So how work is conducting is also shifting towards a change slowly. Sorry. So each generation plays an important role, which we need to experience the knowledge of older generation, but also the need of the fresh ideas from new one. So this is one of the point that I found in Bangkok Post. It was from 2019, so it was kind of interesting, and it could be related to what I was researching for. So which says that every generation, so the Thailand people respect every generation. They respect the values that comes from their senior generation. They expect them to have a lot of knowledge and experiences, and so they are very admiring of the experiences, while they're also welcoming of the fresh and new ideas. So they feel that new ideas come from the younger generations, and they should be exploring on new ideas. So that is the situation. Is like they're just trying to find that right balance between the older generations with experience and knowledge, and then the ideas of new generations. Yeah, and to sum up this, I would like to say that the Thailand overall, looking at all of the dimensions and looking at the aspects in the overall working scenario aspects, I would say that the people in Thailand, they are very hardworking individuals, and they do have a progressive set of mindsets, and they value their culture, their tradition a lot. So they just put high importance on their traditional values. However, they are welcoming to the new change coming. So they are making the shift slowly towards towards finding that correct balance, as I mentioned before, between the older and new generations, and trying to work in a harmony. So yeah, it just shows that how they are trying to improve their situation day by day, and trying to adopt in this fast pacing world, and trying to have gain maximum benefits with working with a growth mindset altogether. So these are the references that I use for the presentation. Yeah, thank you so much.